Good morning and welcome back to another video. We've come down to Harris this morning for sunrise at an amazing little beach, one of our favourite beaches. I think the thing about the beach is that you've got the rocks and the texture with the sand, and at high tide it's just superb for photography, and that's the reason that we decided to head down here this morning, because it's high tide coinciding with sunrise. We've got some absolutely beautiful pink colour just coming in the sky now, and hopefully it'll move across. You can just see a glint, a hint coming over the Harris Hills just behind us. So we were up at 5 o'clock this morning and drove down in the dark. It started to rain, and you've got that sort of sinking feeling, thinking, it's not going to happen, but you've already committed to sunrise, and I'm so glad that we carried on, because look, absolutely beautiful. So we've just made our way down and got ourselves set up, and the first little shot that I'm looking at is these two rocks here. They sort of point towards each other with a little grouping of rocks just sort of in the immediate foreground and then leading out. The tide just now is amazing. Every so often we're getting a huge wave like this one come through that hopefully is going to fill that gap and create a little bit of interest there for us. Just keeping an eye on what it's doing. The thing just now is I'm having to shoot at 8 seconds just because of the ambient light. So I've got no ND filters on, just a polarizer. And we're still on 8 seconds just now. So as the sun comes up, as we get a little bit more light, I should be able to reduce that down a little bit. But yeah, it's all right for a first composition. The only thing I'm not happy about is there's a little rock just creeping in to the edge of the frame, but I can sort of live with that a little bit. We've got some nice light, some nice colour rather. No light just yet. I think once the sun comes up, hopefully we'll get some light on the hills, but we'll see. It's just nice to be out and nice to be enjoying a little bit of swoosh with the waves. So yeah, we're going to take a little bit of a walk around and see what compositions we can find. Pretty much it's just keeping an eye on the tide. What we've done pretty much getting here is just watch for around 10 minutes just to see. There's a beautiful little channel just to the right of us here, and we thought, that might make quite a nice shot. But as we were stood watching, just one wave came all the way up into the rocky background and would have just been disastrous had we been stood there. So it's right to just check and see what the waves are doing before you commit to a composition. Look at the waves, absolutely amazing. Yeah, so as quickly as the colour came, the colour has already faded. We have got a really nice sky though. There's so much detail and texture and layers. It's still beautiful. So I think we will maybe just sort of have a look and see for a couple of different compositions. We've photographed this beach numerous times, and we've always had fantastic conditions with the waves and the sky. So this morning it's been lovely to see that colour. I'm just really keeping an eye on what the waves are doing. They're so unpredictable every now and then with that rogue wave coming through. But yeah, we'll carry on, we'll see what we can find, and hopefully we'll get the opportunity to talk you through another composition. So we've just crept into this little channel. Woo! That maybe wasn't the best idea, because now Max is absolutely wet through and I've just got water over the top of my wellies. The joys. Oh, my feet are freezing cold now, but we've crept into this little channel, wrongly or rightly. We've got some nice little bit of rock pool here. The water's quite deep, so you've got the browns of the water against this black rock, with some nice little bit of foreground interest, midground interest, and the hills up at the back. The light is still not where it needs to be. We haven't got any light sort of across, but the ambient light is brighter, so I've been able to get 1.6 seconds on the shutter. I've dropped an ND grad in just to try and bring a little bit of drama out in the sky. But what you tend to find is that when the water's receding, that's when you get the real nice textures, the streakiness of the water as it runs out. And I always quite like to try and time that with a wave that's coming in. So I think what we'll do, maybe just to concentrate and keep an eye on what the tide's doing, is just try and focus on this shot for a second. We'll pop the images up so far that we've taken this morning for you, let you have a look. It was just a shame that that pink didn't last longer, but it was beautiful while it was there. So I've taken quite a few images of this same composition. We've moved away from that channel, but I'm still using the channel as a bit of a leading line down to these rocks. I've taken quite a few different shots of the waves as are breaking, hopefully with the tide going out, the waves as are crashing, and I managed to get around a second on the shutter, which gives us a little bit more texture in the water. But just as an experiment, I've dropped a 3-stop ND filter in. Obviously that reduces the amount of light that's coming into your camera, and pretty much all I do is I use the histogram and just adjust the shutter speed till the exposure is correctly balanced with the histogram, and that's giving me 6 seconds. So I'm going to see what that does. I do prefer the texture in the water, but it's just good to have a try whilst you're out, because when you get back to your back to your laptop or to your computer, your desktop, it's good to have the choice. So let's have a look. There probably needs to be more water sort of coming through, and that should do the job quite nicely. What a morning. Okay, so the final shot of the morning. The sky's gone pretty dull. We didn't get any light, but what I did want to do is just try a 2-minute exposure on this little scene here. So we've got a nice piece of rock on the left and the same on the right, with a gap in between where the waves have been coming in and out, again leading up to those absolutely stunning Harris Hills at the back there. Looking at the images on the back of the camera for the 2-minute exposure, I'm quite happy with them. There's probably a little bit of movement in the sky as well with the cloud. We saw a sea eagle out to sea, some geese have just flown over. It's been a lovely morning, even though that colour didn't last, and we've got wet feet.
Both of us have got wet
Both
feet.
of us have got wet feet. It's been lovely. So hope you've really enjoyed those images and our quick little sunrise shoot from Harris this morning. So thanks very much for watching. Take lots of care. Adios. This is going to be a big one, brace. Brace. If you'd like to join us on a one-to-one photography session or small group workshop, head over to warner-tatephotography.com where you can find more information on how to book.